Welcome to the Complete Story Series from Manga Storian, where we condense down your favorite manga stories and classics for you to enjoy. To fully understand what happened to your favorite stories, we highly recommend purchasing them yourselves. The next day after Izuku and Katsuki's fight, the media started to swarm around the school trying to ask the students about All Might. Where is he? They want to talk to him. But Aizawa, a teacher at the school, starts to shoo them away, telling the media that they're interrupting their class, please leave. And then he shuts a giant gate locking them out. Later in the homeroom, Aizawa tells everyone good job on yesterday's training, but he does warn Katsuki that he needs to grow up, and the fact that Izuku got another broken arm tells Aizawa that he needs to learn how to control his quirk. But now it's time for boring homeroom business, and as much as it bores him, the students need to pick out a class president. All of the students begin to shout out that they want to be the leader, but Tenya tells everyone that there needs to be a democracy, so there must be an election. Surprisingly, Izuku gets all of the votes, making him the president. Later, the students all go to lunch, and while there, the alarm begins to go off. Outside, Aizawa and President Mike begin to hold back more of the media because they set off the alarm. But inside, the students begin to panic and rush around trying to figure out what's going on. Tenya, seeing an opportunity, calls out to Ochiko and tells her to make him float. He then floats up to an exit sign where he points to the exit, telling everyone, everything's fine. Everyone then begins to return back to their classes, and once they get back to the homeroom, Izuku tells everyone that while he loves all the votes, he thinks Tenya would be a better president because of the way he handled the situation with all of the students panicking. So with that, Tenya accepts his new role and everyone cheers about how Mr. Exit Sign can do it. Later that day, Aizawa tells the class today is rescue training day. So the students have a choice of wearing their costumes, and they're going to be leaving for a remote area, so they need to get ready. Some of the students bother changing, but they all get on the bus to leave, and as they sit for the ride, Soyu, the girl with the powers of a frog, comments that Izuku's quirk kind of resembles All Might's, which then gets all of the students to talk about whose quirk looks the coolest. And when they finally reach the Universal Studios of Japan, the students all get off and they're greeted by the space hero, 13. He tells everyone that he created this facility and named it the Unforeseen Simulation Joint. Aizawa asks where All Might is because he was supposed to be here, and 13 tells him that he reached his limit this morning during a morning commute, and Aizawa thinks to himself they should all be on their guard with the recent events, but then he tells everyone to just get ready. 13 begins to tell everyone about his quirk. It's a black hole that can suck in and tear everything apart, which could easily kill, but today he's going to show them how to save lives. As 13 finishes his speech, Aizawa starts to talk when he notices something down below. When he looks at it, he sees a head begin to poke out of it, and he tells everyone, group up and don't move. The students all ask what's going on, and Aizawa tells them, those are villains. One of the villains begins to look around and notice that All Might isn't with them, and another asks, maybe some dead kids will bring him out? These villains are here to kill the symbol of peace himself, All Might. As more villains begin to come out, Aizawa tells 13 to take care of the students. He's going to stop the villains. He then jumps right in using his quirk, which allows him to cancel other people's quirks by looking at them. He continues fighting against them when a giant black shadow begins to spread over the students, and the shadow tells them that they are the League of Villains, and they have come to end the life of All Might. The shadow goes on to ask, where is All Might? Oh well, things remain unchanged. But as the shadow finishes talking, Katsuki and another student rush in to attack the shadow, and 13 tries to call them back. Before they have time to react, the shadow begins to spread around to everyone, and in a flash, Izuku is dropped into the flood zone of the course. As Izuku lands in the water, he sees a villain appear before him. But as he gets ready to attack, Soyu swims in to chomp down on the villain's head. Soyu then grabs Izuku with her tongue and begins to swim away with Izuku and Mineta. She takes them to a nearby boat and throws them aboard, but before long, they get surrounded by more aquatic villains. Izuku tries to think, why are these villains attacking them? Why do they want All Might dead? Is it because of what he stands for? Maybe they know a way to defeat All Might? And if they do, then they must fight them. Back with 13, 13 tells Tenya that he needs to get out of here and get help since their communications are jammed. So the only way that they have a chance is if Tenya uses his quirk to get all the way back to the school for help. Ochiko and the rest of the students tell him to go on. They'll provide all of the support that he needs. But back over with the boat with Izuku tries to figure out a plan to defeat these aquatic villains and realizes that the villains have no clue what the students' quirks are. So maybe they can use that to their advantage. Soyu is a frog, Izuku has super strength, and Mineta has a sticky substance that's balls that don't stick to him, but they stick to everything else. Mineta begins to panic that his quirk isn't that useful, and that's when one of the aquatic villains begins to destroy the boat. And Mineta continues to panic, and that's when he starts to pop off his sticky balls from his head, and he throws them in the water. Then Izuku thinks to himself about something that All Might said. The moment the enemy thinks they've won represents your best chance. The aquatic villains begin to think that they have won, so Izuku jumps from the sinking boat, and then using his strength, he flicks the water, sending a shockwave clearing the water below him. Izuku then calls out to Soyu and Mineta, and Soyu grabs him while Mineta continues to throw more of his sticky balls into the water. Soon the water begins to return back and suck up all of the aquatic villains and the sticky balls together, sticking all of the villains together. Soyu grabs Izuku and Mineta and begins to escape, and she tells them that they beat their first challenge, or something. Whatever. Good job! As the three of them begin to walk up to the shore, everyone notices Aizawa is still fighting off a large number of villains. So Izuku tells everyone that instead of leaving, they should wait for an opening and attack. The other students continue to fight off the low-class villains, and Aizawa in the landslide zone begins to freeze all of the villains there, but over in the mountain zone, Momo, Kyoka, and Denki start getting surrounded. Denki tries to ask him what they want, and Kyoka tells him not to worry about that right now, they could worry about it later. Can't he just electrify everyone anyway? He tells Kyoka that his electrical discharge will hit everyone, including them. So Kyoka uses her quirk that allows her to amplify her heartbeat to extreme levels to shortly stun all of the villains. Momo then using her quirk allows her to create non-living things, allowing her to make an insulation sheet to cover herself and Kyoka. Then Denki releases a massive electrical surge, frying everyone. Back over with Aizawa, Tomura Shigaraki begins his attack on Aizawa, just as Aizawa wraps him with his cloth. Tomura then grabs him by the arm, and his arm begins to disintegrate. Aizawa knocks him off, but as he begins to get back up, Nomu appears. Back with 13, he creates a black hole, but Kurogiri, the shadow monster, has teleported 13 in front of the black hole, causing himself to get sucked inside of it. The other students tell Tenya to hurry up and run for help, but as he runs, another portal begins to open up in front of him. One of his friends jumps in front of him, wrapping himself around the portal, telling Tenya to go, so Tenya begins to run. Back over with Izuku, the only thing that him and the other students can do is watch Nomu, as Nomu is sitting on top of Aizawa, pulling at his twisted arm. So Tomura tells Aizawa to meet the anti-symbol of peace, the bioengineered Nomu. Tenya continues to run for the exits while the other students continue to try and give him support. But just as Kurogiri begins to make another portal to stop Tenya, Ochigo grabs Kurogiri by the neck plate, making the neck plate float up, giving Tenya enough time to finally get outside. Nomu continues to squeeze and crack Aizawa's arm just as Tomura continues to taunt him. But before Nomu can finish off Aizawa, Kurogiri begins to appear and tell Tomura that one of the students got away. Tomura tells him that means it's game over, for now. But before they leave, they're gonna leave a few dead kids in their wake, and he points over to Izuku. But that's when Izuku remembers what happened to Aizawa's arm when Tomura touched it. He reaches over, freeing Soyu's head from Tomura, but that's when he notices that Aizawa was looking over, canceling Tomura's quirk. At that time, Izuku begins to act, and he tells Tomura to get off of Soyu, and he punches right into him. But this time, his arm's not broken, and he managed to regulate his power. As the smoke begins to clear, Izuku stands in front of Nomu, and Tomura asks him, with a smash like that, "Are you a fan of All Might?" Then Nomu begins to carry him off, but before he can go anywhere, the doors to the front gate burst open. "Fear not, I am here." All Might stays standing there. And that concludes Volume 2 of My Hero Academia. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll be bringing you the first part of Volume 3 real soon. But don't forget to follow us on Twitter @MangaStorian, and I'll see you next time right here.